My fiancée is relatively new to her job. A police officer showed up and asked to speak with her. She is now enraged at me for calling the police and sending a cop to her work and making her look bad. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Am I the A-hole for calling the police on my fiancé? And a big shout out to Ronick for sending me the story. And guys, this story is definitely an interesting one. It's about a guy, he's been with his girl for a little while now. He's engaged. He is 35 and she's 38. And long story short, one night she goes out, supposedly to take their kid's friend home. Left at like 7 o'clock at night, something like that. And guess what? Disappeared. Completely disappeared. Nothing. No call, no text, nothing. Eventually, in the middle of the night, this guy got worried, thinking something happened to her, and called the police. Understandable. And lo and behold, she shows up the next morning and acts like nothing was wrong. And then you're going to see, that's where things really start off, and she freaking loses it. Freaking has a meltdown at him because the cops eventually track her down, find out what's going on, and blows up at him, makes him out to be the bad guy. You don't trust me, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're going to see there were other things going on. And this is going to end in a way that definitely some of you guys may not have expected, but it's definitely interesting. And nevertheless, it's going to show you guys how you always have to pay attention to red flags. And when you see red flags, you have to act on it. And when people reach a point when they're pulling a lot of BS with you, you got to cut them out of your life, okay? Even though you may have the old rose tinted glasses on or whatever, not a good idea. You got to cut them off and move on. Otherwise, there's going to be more and more BS. And also, particularly when you're dealing with someone that has characteristics of a narcissist, they are always going to make you out to be the bad guy. No matter what they do, you're in the wrong. And weak people are easily susceptible to abuse like this. Anyhow, guys, without spoiling what's been really going on behind the scenes here, I'm going to go through the story and you'll see at the end. So it starts off, says here, last night, my fiancée, a 38-year-old female, left in the evening to give a friend's son a ride back to his home. Interesting choice of word, giving the friend's son a ride. She implied she'd be home before 9 p.m. She left around 7:45. 10:15 rolled around and she still wasn't home. I texted and she apologized to me, saying that her friend's son was actually in the town over, maybe 30 minutes away, and she was coming home now. Oh, okay. 11:45 rolled around and she still hadn't come home. So I called her to no answer. I texted her no response. I was getting very upset. 12:30 rolled around and still no response and no answer to my phone calls. I was extremely angry. So she's been gone for like 5 hours, and with the exception of that one time that he contacted her, she's been not receptive at all. Okay? Either something has happened to her, accident, who knows what, something awful, or she's doing this on purpose. And remember, people that have a history of lying and all sorts of stuff like that aren't going to just suddenly stop when they get caught and apologize. 1:30 a.m. rolled around and my anger had completely transformed into worry, not answering my calls and texts not read. Around 1:45 a.m. I called the police. I've always heard that the first 24 hours of someone being missing is the most important, so I didn't want to delay. Perfectly understandable. I think any guy watching this or listening to this had a girlfriend, fiance, wife, and this happened, you would react this way too. I would in this situation myself. So I asked them to let me know if there had been any traffic accidents involving her car, and the operator told me that they would put out a word and send some cops to check out the route that she would travel. I called all the hospitals in the area to check and see if she has been checked in, and waited outside watching the road for her car for 3 hours, partially because I didn't want the kids to hear me on the phone with hospitals, and second because I was sick with worry. Yeah, keep in mind here also, they have kids together. At 7 o'clock in the morning, she comes home. She apologized for being out, and she said she had no excuse. I'd be like, where the F were you? Why the F weren't you responding to texts, calls, whatever? Let's hear it. You're not going to bed. Oh, no. We're going to talk about this. Apparently, she was driving home and felt tired, like she was falling asleep at the wheel. So she pulled over to the side of the road to go to sleep. Sure. When she did that, she found that her brand new phone had stopped working. She says she napped anyway because it was the responsible thing to do, and then came home at 7 a.m. to bring the kids to school and get to work on time. What a load of bullshit. Her brand new phone suddenly died. Last time I checked, Apple or Google doesn't have brand new phones that suddenly die. They may have little software issues, but they do still function. And even then, she could have pulled over before she had decided to pull over and go to sleep. Somewhere she can make a phone call to let him know that she's not dead on the side of the road. This is total bullshit. I immediately called the police and told them that she had come home safely and gave them the case number and told them to stop searching, which they did. My fiance brought the kids to school and left for work. I bet you the whole time she's thinking, what a dumbass. He actually bought into this. I set to start cleaning. Cleaning distresses me sometimes. And I got a call from a policeman asking where she worked. I told him and asked why. And I was informed that it was their policy to check on the person's wellness after a missing person is found. I asked him not to go to work, but to give her a call instead. He said he couldn't promise. Cops aren't going to do cops don't take requests. They're going to go see her. End of story. It says here, my fiance is relatively new to her job. A police officer showed up and asked to speak with her. She is now enraged at me for calling the police and sending a cop to check her at work and making her look bad. Enraged at him, he had every right to call the police that night because she thought something was wrong. And you know what? If the situation was reversed and she gave a crap, she would have done the same thing. She is saying I overreacted and that she wasn't missing and that I was punishing her for doing the responsible thing and not driving while drowsy. Bullshit. She is saying that she is never going to leave the house again except for work because she is afraid I'm going to call the cops on her again. Okay, drama queen. So, did I overreact? Should I have waited 2 days like she suggests? No, of course not. You did the right thing. Now, you shouldn't be with a chick like this because you're going to see, guys, that she's had other red flags before. And by the way, you're going to find that they're in a wait for it open relationship. They're engaged, but yet an open relationship. So that adds to a whole level of issues with this particular story. Now, a few comments here. One guy says, not the a-hole. I don't believe her story one bit. Driving a kid home and disappearing for the entire night is a massive red flag. How does she not even know where he lives when she started the drive? How old is this kid? Pulling over and sleeping on the side of the road for a 30-minute drive is nuts. She is now turning this around to say she is the victim of your actions. That's exactly what she's doing. She was out doing Lord knows what with Lord knows who and is lying and is pissed off that this guy obviously did something about it. And now because her perception of him is that he's weak, which she's quite accurate about, she's going to twist around, make him out to be the bad guy and hoping eventually he'll cave. And yelling at him because he called the cops. Now the guy says, you're not the a-hole. She's the one who was on her way home at 10:15 and then disappeared until 7 a.m. Of course you're going to call the police and have them go looking for her. If she's been in an accident or worse, she would have been dead and you'd waited 2 days to call. That being said, she's definitely lying about what happened. It honestly sounds like more like she fell asleep at her affair partner's place and concocted that bogus excuse to cover her ass. Another guy says here, not the a-hole, something is up. That excuse doesn't fly. It just doesn't make sense that she'd sleep all night in her car to avoid a 30-minute drive home. Exactly. I don't blame you for calling the cops, and her reaction is out of line. I think she's hiding something. If her friend's son was 30 minutes away, then she should have been back by 9 p.m. I'm 95% sure she's lying to you about where she was. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. Yeah, well, when I read this, guys, I was 110%, 1,000% sure she's lying. Now with an update to see what was really going on behind the scenes. He says, first of all, thank you to those of you who offered kind words and solid advice. This update is likely to disappoint some of you as it does me. My fiance and I have been fighting solidly since before I posted my last threat. It's been exhausting. I called her out on her obvious lie and she fumed how awful I was for calling her a liar. Sounds like a typical narcissist, or, well, let's be honest, typical a-hole girl in today's world. At least this guy called her out on us. I'll give him that. From then on in, it was as if she was falling through a smooth well, desperately clawing and grabbing at anything she could to blame me as she went deeper and deeper. That's how it works. I'm not a perfect man, but in this particular situation, I was an angel, so she had nothing to grab onto. I did a lot of soul searching, and I made a call that most of you will hate. I decided to bury the hatchet. Smack. Oh, okay, stay with her. She's out the whole freaking night doing Lord knows what with Lord knows who, put you in a very bad situation, and then made you out to be the bad guy for reacting the way that anybody would with somebody they cared about, and you're going to stay with her? You're just going to let that thing slide? Yeah, your damn mind. She knows that you will do this. She wins. This guy should not be with this chick. I love her very, very dearly. I had no proof of a lie, and I wasn't too concerned about what she really was up to anyway. Hang on here. He says, I wasn't too concerned with what she was really up to anyway. Then why are you engaged to her? Why are you with her? He says, our relationship is open, so even if she effed around, I don't care very much. Okay, dude. I like to know who was one who initiated this open relationship, her or him. Still, she fought with me, though. The fight continued to the point where she broke up with me, but not really, which was a common tactic she had used before. Aha! She's one of those. She doesn't get her way. That's it, we're breaking up. One of those types. Instead of resolving things and talking about it like adults and communicating, which any relationship should, that's it, we're breaking up. Drama queen. I called her on it, and she fought with me still. I asked for space for a night so I could sleep off the exhaustion, and she got upset and told me I was neglectful and selfish for not going to her and making up in person. The sad thing is, guys, it'd be one thing if these two a-holes, because they're both a-holes, let's be honest here. It was just the two of them, but they got kids. Kids that live in the house and have to be witness to all this bullshit. It's really sad. I am stupid. I'm aware of it. Yeah, you are. Even though all of this, I was apparently able to believe that what she said in emotion wasn't really her talking. Today I was having lunch. Money has been tight lately for some reason. Weird. So I flipped through my wallet to find my credit card, which was missing. I wonder who took the credit card. I don't think the credit card fairy took it. Well, you see where this goes. She had stolen it. She cited our desire to join lives together and merge finances, and that when I lent her my wallet once, she took it as she wouldn't have to bother me asking again. The credit card is mine, under my name, and for emergencies only. You dumbass. They're not even married, and they're merging finances, and he let her use his credit card one time, so she justified that as, I can take his credit card whenever he wants. Guys, when you guys are in relationships right now, if your girl took your credit card and used it without your permission, how would you feel? Would you let that slide? Whether it was for $1,000 or $1, not cool. And it goes both ways. She was using it for the last month and a half. While she has been decent enough to pay back some of it, there was still $1,500 balance on it, and that hasn't been paid. Why can't she use her own credit cards? There's an idea, dumbass. She says that it's here just as much as mine and resents me calling her a thief. A lot of the uses are spent at ATM machines for cash withdrawals and some interesting ones at, wait for it, the casino. Now we're getting somewhere. That's where she was, taking the money out for the casino. By the way, with a credit card. She was using the credit card to take out cash. And when you do cash withdrawals on credit cards, it is even higher interest on those withdrawals. But she's a gambler, so no big deal. And it's not her money, it's his money. There you go. Those of you who guessed gambling were probably right on the money. At that point, I admit I lost it. I'm a very calm person, but there's only so much denial of a reality that I could take. It's still blurry. But I said a lot of horrible things to her and in the process of evicting her from my life. Good, bro. You're a moron in many ways for being with a chick like this and letting the shit slide. But at the end of the day, she's the real a-hole here. I'm canceling everything that is in my name that she's a part of, including the new phone line, canceling her car insurance, and reclaiming my car that I gave her. And she has since trashed. Smack. You gave her your car too. And she trashed the car, shocker. She has no respect for anything or anyone. Apparently, I can handle lies, cheating, and secrets, but who knew theft was my line? Learning experience. Now looking back, I can identify lots of sketchy shit that my love goggles blinded me to, but there was a pretty strict character limit. So there you go, guys. I bet you all thought she was hooking up with the friend's kid, or who the hell knows, or hooking up casino. Compulsive gambler. I had a girlfriend like 20 years ago who had a sister who married a dude who was a compulsive gambler. And this dude was the biggest bullshitter you'd ever meet. Oh my God, this guy could have sold used cars for a living, you know, but even then you could kind of see through some of it. And this guy was always broke, okay? And my girlfriend at the time's family said, don't marry this guy. But this girl, her sister was a moron. She married him anyway. And there were times he wouldn't come home at night, right? And she was always having to cover him. And one time they were driving home from someplace, and she woke up in a garage in Atlantic City. But she woke up and didn't know. She fell asleep in the car. He's driving home from somewhere. And she woke up in this parking garage, and she had no idea where she was. And she was in Atlantic City in a casino. And there he was down there at the tables playing. The lies, the bullshit, the racked up credit cards. I mean, it goes on and on. The girl eventually divorced that jackass after like a year and a half of marriage. But I've heard stories about this. And so, yeah, guys, for you dating relationship guys, there are a lot of gals out there to watch out for with many problems, addiction problems and all that. But gamblers, you don't need it, guys. Just be careful. Anyway, guys, that'd be a good one to share here. This guy's got his own crap to work out here, but at least he's kicking her ass to the curb. Thank the Lord. But perfect sign about red flags, boundaries, calling people on their crap, and how narcissists will twist things around and make you out to be the bad guy. That'd be a good one to go over. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, you come across a good story like to share, by all means, email it to me. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. If it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.